women in music are held to a different standard than men in music are, especially in terms of like their branding and like their aesthetics. And they're always asked to like change up their sound or like their look. And I feel like men in that industry don't.
Welcome to Between Sisters, where we give you real talk between real sisters. Each week we use TV, movies, books, and music as a mirror for real life, because the stories we love, they always say more about us than we think.
Hey step siblings, welcome back to Between Sisters. I'm Corrine.
And I'm Kayla.
And we are joined today by my friend, Lindsey Desir, who is our second ever guest.
I know.
So this is super exciting.
I'm excited, yeah.
And we're here to talk because you work in the industry, the music industry, like for real. Yeah. Legit.
Mm-hmm.
And what's so funny is, you know how you never know what your friend really does for work?
Yeah.
Like, you're like, yeah, I know she has a job. I know she goes and like she works.
I got a 9 to 5. Like, I'm getting paid.
She works in this area. But then Lindsey will just text me like, hey, I have 2 concert tickets for tonight for such and such artist. Let's go. Or like, I have like a +1 for this music industry event. Let's go. I'm like, oh, okay. Listen, I don't know what she's in there doing, but she is in there getting it done. Because she's getting those +1s and I'm there with her.
Right.
So can you explain to us what you do?
I work at a hip-hop music label currently. I just started last week, but previously I used to work at a music distribution company, The Orchard, which is what we're referencing when I'm talking with Corrine about the things that I used to do. I used to work there almost 3 years, and what that entailed was I used to work with a plethora of music labels. I used to go through at least like 200 pitches a day and a week, actually. And we used to filter through those pitches and we used to get them through Apple Music, Tidal, anywhere that you stream music digitally. So it was a lot of talking to music labels. It was a lot of talking to DSPs, which are called digital streaming platforms, which are your SoundClouds and those kind of recording companies that you get on your phone. So we were working with a lot of artists, a lot of different genres. And right now, I'm working at a hip hop label currently.
And I know you love hip hop. So this is 100%. It's
such a good bridge. Like, I'm so happy to have this position. It's at Mass Appeal, which is, that's Nas's label, and I had met him the other day. It was just like a full circle moment, because like I was talking to my dad the other day about it too, and he was just saying like he was my favorite rapper and everything like that, and my dad was kind of the person who introduced me to music and everything, so it was just like such a full circle moment when I when I talked to him the other day.
That's so sweet.
I'm just super happy to be there and super happy to keep working in music.
Period. Okay, so you kind of had a big hand in getting people out and push to playlisting and like all of those different type of things that people want to do. How did you know that music was what you wanted to do with your career?
Right.
Because I know we went to college together. That's how we met. Yes. And I know you started as a journalism.
Yeah.
You were a journalism major. So what made you take that switch to music?
It's super interesting because when I, declared my major, I actually switched my major like a month or 2 before we actually came to the campus. And at first I wanted to be psychology, which I wanted to do like for the longest, but I saw somebody on my Instagram who was working at a radio station, like as an intern. And it was so interesting to me, like how that could be a kind of avenue to go to. I know like radio is not the most, popular place to listen to music these days, but when I saw her working there and like talking to artists and like doing these kinds of things, it kind of inspired me. And I always was a fan of music. Like that was like my big like hobby, I would say. Like when I was younger, I was like in musical theater. Like I said, my dad introduced me to like Motown and like 90s hip hop. So like I always was a music fan. But when I saw that there was an avenue for me to be closer to that, I just like was just like, screw it, I'm just gonna switch my major. And I did broadcast journalism because at the time I wanted to interview artists. Like I wanted to work at like Vibe magazine or like a Billboard or like be a music journalist. So that's kind of what I tailored my experience at Howard to be. So like if I were to write an article, I would try to do it music focused or like have that be like the focal point of what I'm doing, just so I could be like really immersed in that area. So I kind of always knew I wanted to do something in music. It's just the label part and like the business side that I didn't expect to end up in.
I remember when you kind of made that switch to, okay, I want to do music journalism, because Lindsey and I was a film major when I was in school. I now work in the film industry. She came to me and was like, we should do a music documentary. We went out, we went to studios, we interviewed artists, like we made all this footage. It never saw the light of day.
It went nowhere because COVID happened, and like, I was sitting here figuring out like, what am I gonna do like tomorrow, rather than like, oh, I have this plan of like what my life and like what our lives are gonna look like, because we were doing this and it was like in school, like it was this whole thing, and I'm really glad that we've done that, but I'm like still
we need to pick it back up.
We honestly should.
Like, we can, and we need.
We literally can at this point. Like we're still kind of doing similar things to what we did in college, but it's just
It's funny you said you switched and went to radio, because when I went to college, I went to Delaware State University. I wanted to do radio. I was like, oh, I'm going to be like Wendy Williams on the radio and everything. And I ended up switching to marketing. But that's funny you say that.
I know, It's just like you when you're little, you always think that the things that you see are like what you're going to be able to do when you're older, but you never know when the times are changing. Like we weren't prepared for like how big iTunes and like Apple Music and like Spotify were going to be. So now people aren't really streaming on, Hot 100 or anything like that. They're streaming on their phones. So.
And so the music industry has a reputation, right? So what did you think going in was going to be like? Did you have some reservations? Did you?
Because I was able to see it a little bit from my internship while I was in school, I knew that it was like a way bigger world. It's a bigger world, and also it's really small in a way too. It's kind of like people know each other from their own internships, and like they were working at X label and they went to a major or an indie. So it's like it's interesting how many people already know each other from like different parts of the industry. Like it's such a small place when you think that it's like even globally, like you'll know people from other labels from Korea and stuff like that. We worked with like Starship Entertainment, which was like IVE and like K-pop and things like that, and like you'll know people who work right next to you who know somebody that like you used to work together. So I think that's like it's interesting how it seems like it's like so big and like paths won't cross as much as they do, but they definitely do.
That's definitely the same in the film industry
too.
It's like huge,
entertainment
but
is like
also very
super
little.
small.
Okay, I wanted to ask you about your experience being a woman and being a Black woman in the industry, and how do you feel you move through the industry or have to move through the industry differently?
Right. That's a very interesting question, because I definitely think that there's still, even though things are definitely changing in the right direction, I've been in spaces where it's like majority are women that are sitting at the table, and it's amazing. But like I do think there are still people, and like this is like kind of like like the reputation that the music industry gets, like there's a bunch of white men who like are at the top, and like they don't really understand like the cultural differences between everybody. And it's really interesting that the people are like that, because it's like you're going through music with Black artists, with especially nowadays it's so much more global, so you would think that some people will have that in mind. But definitely while I'm going through, I think for me it's a positive and it's a bonus, because as a black woman, Black music is like at the forefront of like what's popular nowadays. So it's like it's really interesting that people are looking for my perspective on things sometimes, because it's like I can speak to it culturally, I can speak to it like just personally as being like growing up around music like that. But there are definitely moments where like I'm sitting in a meeting and like the head guy who's like the head of this label is like just talking crazy. Like I remember I was sitting in a meeting, and then like we were talking about like pitches for like Women's History Month, and they're like, Women's History Month or like Women Appreciation Month, like why is that a thing? And I'm just like, this is the kind of stuff that people still don't have that kind of nuance, which is interesting that we're still doing that. But I do think it takes a while for like more generations to come to push the tide, and I definitely think the tide is being pushed. Like I said, like I work with so many women. Like even when I moved from my at the Orchard to Mass Appeal, like I would think like Mass Appeal's like, oh yeah, it's gonna be so many like guys, like older gentlemen like working. It's really just like me and a bunch of young women, like, and a lot of young Black women that are like coming together, and it's like really cool to see. So I definitely think it's changing, but I definitely do also think that like just the nature of it, you will find, and I think that's also in entertainment too. I think it's in a lot of businesses too, like finance, like all that kind of, you have that kind of idea of it, and it is true in some cases, but I think it is definitely changing, which is good.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, we need Lindseys in those rooms.
Yeah.
Okay.
we do.
Yeah.
We do. What is something about the industry that you think would just surprise a lot of people?
I definitely think people would be surprised as to how many individual people are working on a single project. Like, speaking from a distribution standpoint, we are kind of the middle ground of people that nobody talks about. I remember when I used to look about what jobs I'm going to get when I graduate, and I know a lot of people think of like when you work at like, let's say like Columbia, for example, like a major, where it's like you have your A&R and you have like people who work digital marketing, and like that's kind of where it stops, but it really is not the case. Like, you have to have the people who are distributing the music. You have to have the people who are like, there's this thing called UPCs, which is kind of like the barcode for the song that gets through like the technical standpoints. Like, you have people with copyright. Like, there's just like so many people to get one song from like the studio. Not only do you have like A&R technicians, you have people who do like publishing rights and all that kind of thing. So take it from the studio, and then you go all the way from the label. The label has to check it, make sure, like, put it on schedule, marketing, all that kind of stuff, budget. Then you have to go from there. Distribution takes it, markets it, like goes to, even personally shows up to the Apple Apple offices and like pitches it to people. Then the Apple people take it, and then it's just like a whole thing. And it's like, I didn't know that, like, when my artist said, oh, surprise drop at this, I thought it was just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna press a button,
right.
and it's gonna go live whenever I want to. And then, like, that's just how it works. It's so structural. Even when people are doing surprise drops, like, there's like hundreds of people that know about it already, and they've been known about it for like 3 weeks, because like you have to, like, that's just kind of the process that it has to go through before it goes live, like even the technical part.
It's kind of crazy when you think like an artist, but that artist is kind of a brand, and
100%.
that a bunch of people are working for.
Exactly. Like, it's interesting, because it's like, we're working with a lot of creatives too, so it's like they also think sometimes it's like, oh no, like I could just drop tomorrow. It's like, well, you have to go through these kind of caveats. Like, of course you can technically, but like it's gonna be a whole mess. It's like you need these people to, like, it has to be in a formulaic way, because that's just the only way to do it, kind of.
I kind of like that you said that too, because people were like, where's the album, when's this
my
happening?
God,
and it's like, you have no idea
you
what's
have
going
no
on.
idea. We have to get a song cleared, like you got to go talk to their team, like it's just like, it's a whole thing. Like, it's very interesting, and of course, like, it's such a front facing kind of like, you're not thinking about other industries in the way that you think about music, because like it's intertwined with pop culture, but like it works like a business. Like, you just kind of have to do it that way. Like, that's just how the process is. So I thought that was interesting.
Like, we're in a streaming era. A lot of people think they can just kind of release and be independent. Do you think that going the traditional, record label route is still like the wave or the thing to do?
I definitely think things are changing. And I got to learn that, like, up close and personal, working at a distributor, because we sign independent artists as well. So it's like, we don't just work with labels like Columbia and like 88 Rising and like those kind of, brands that had like the domination of the charts before, because before then, like, the way to discover music was like the traditional ways. Like, you needed to have promotion, like you needed to have people on your team to do that. But like nowadays, people can just go on TikTok and like post their song, and like you can do it that way too. Like, I've seen a lot of independent artists come in where it's like their team is just like them and like a couple friends, and like they're just sitting there like making it work. And like it's also interesting to see that as well. And it's just like, I think that that's great, because then you can get a lot of access to a lot of music that you wouldn't have been able to hear, because they had to have signed to some kind of label or some kind of person to be able to promote that. And I definitely think things are changing in that direction for sure. I think people are just, instead of signing a deal, they're going straight to a distributor, or they're going straight to somebody who can help them promote their music, or like get somebody freelance to go do that for them, which is like, I say go for it, because like sometimes like these deals are like they'll lock you in for like 7 years, and like you have to release X amount, and sometimes people don't like, other people have more control over your artistic creations, which is like artists at the end of the day, they're creatives. They don't want to be like held to that kind of standard. So,
Right.
So yeah, I definitely think the tides are changing, and I think that that's cool and it's important. Like you should be doing that, you know, if you can.
Yeah. And that's great because I feel like the digital era as a whole takes away a lot of gatekeeping.
Oh, 100%.
And the gatekeepers of who's on, who's not.
Exactly.
And you can almost champion for yourself
Yeah.
rather than
100%.
having to have someone else champion
Exactly.
for you. So I love that.
And it's more organic too.
Yeah.
It's more organic.
Let
for
the
sure.
people choose.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, love that. We wanted to ask, since you're in the music industry, what do you think makes the perfect album? Like what ingredients, you know, what goes into that?
Me personally, I know like talking about like this is like so controversial to talk about like, oh, like what do you think is perfect like with music, because like especially like in art and like in film and like books
So
and things like that, it's so
Yeah.
subjective as to like what I might think is perfect. Other people like I actually could care less. But like me personally, I love storytelling. I love when an artist like their order of a song is very intentional, and like they take you through a journey or like a feeling or an aesthetic or something like that that's like very true to them specifically. I could speak to like recently an album that I was like, wow, like this is like super fun and like fresh was I'm not sure if you've heard of Slater. She's like, she does like electronic like pop, and she just released an album that I thought was just like super fun, like. And I'm also really a fan of like electro pop coming back. Like this is like recession pop, like to the max.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
this is
Yes.
recession pop to the max. But like also like if I'm going back, like Blonde was like such like a like an aesthetic, a feeling when you think about it. Like you can like think of the songs and like it'll take you somewhere specific. So I personally think that when you have something that's like a cohesive piece or a cohesive record, I think that is like more than enough for me. And like obviously sonically, like I think production is really important too. So like I need to listen to it on my headphones and like be like, okay, like these vocals are like balanced the way like it sounds really nice, but like that's more of like a technical thing, or it's just like kind of like pretentious to be like, oh my god, the mixing is like terrible. But yeah, I definitely think like conceptually wise, like I like when it's like a full like visualized piece rather than like you can tell it's just a bunch of singles that they just threw together, you know.
Me too. I what you said about storytelling, it resonates with me because I feel the same way, because I'm such a storytelling heavy person because I work in TV and film.
Exactly.
That's my whole North Star, right? So when it's a full, I love when you close an album and you can see the arc and the journey that you went on from listening to it. And I also thought it was so funny that you said like electronica and stuff is coming back, because on my way here to film today, I literally was playing this new Skrillex song over
That's what I'm
and
saying.
over on repeat.
It's coming back.
I'm like,
it
it is coming back.
It's coming back. And I'm like, me and Corrine went to a Boiler Room.
Yes.
A
couple months
like
ago.
A couple months ago, like last like summertime.
Yes.
Oh, and like
so maybe almost a year.
Yeah, and like I wasn't like ever like I'm a like R&B, alternative R&B, like chill girly, like 90s hip hop, like very like low key. But like when we went to Boiler Room, I was like, wait, like I'm like this is actually jumping. Like I had a time.
We were in the DJ booth on the stage.
And the DJ like with Boys Noise, like
and then we was going like we were
not right.
Like we were the artists.
I had a business to be up there. Like
and she was doing crowd control.
She
would go,
yeah.
I'm
But like
not left side, right?
Like electro music is like taking like the forefront. I think that's gonna be like really like the next wave of like popular music nowadays. So yeah, when Slater dropped, like I thought that was really like an interesting album sonically, just because like I'm kind of like into the like like I'm like in the mood for that now.
I need to check that out.
Yeah. And yeah, like I don't know. That's how I feel about a perfect album to me.
You kind of answered this a little bit, but how does you said kind of sequencing matters, the storytelling and everything,
right?
So that's how you feel.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Okay, we asked you before you came, what is like if you had to pick one?
Yeah.
And we forced you because she didn't want to pick, y'all.
It was
facts.
How does one pick?
Like, I mean, if you asked me what my favorite album was or my favorite movie was, I would also be Fighting and Screaming.
Yeah.
But she came down to Thriller by Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Right? Which has been called the greatest record of all time.
Yeah.
It's the best-selling album of all time. Why Thriller?
I think like it just speaks for itself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's like you don't, as an album, to be a perfect album, like I said, like I was fighting with this for like a really long time. I also think like Songs in the Key of Life is like one of the best albums ever. I mentioned Blonde before, but that's like a personal favorite of mine too. But I just think, and like I'm saying, like disclaimer, you don't need every single to be like the biggest single ever. Like I know Thriller has so many standalone singles that like you could like pick out that are like, this is like the best song ever, and like putting it all together in one album is just like nuts to me. So like I just have to think of like commercially like how huge that was, like culturally, how many people have taken inspiration not only from the visuals, like, you know, you have like Beat It, you have Thriller itself, Thriller being like an evergreen Halloween like song, like it'll get played every October, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon. I think like the fact that he won, I think like he had the record for like most Grammys won like in like one time for that, and like also he won in so many different genres. Like he had like rock, he had R&B, he had pop, like he won all in that one album. That just spoke to like how fantastic it was, and the I'm a production fan, like production like was insane. Like I just always come back to that album, and like like Human Nature, like you can't, like I can't, like
every song you list,
every
it's
song
like,
is just like oh yeah, like Billie Jean, like you just cannot, like, and they're all in one album.
On
like
one
it's
album.
just
it's
actually nuts.
Sick.
It's sick.
It's sick.
How dare you? No.
And I'm somebody who's like, I like when it's like, okay, start and finish. Like I don't need an album to be like an hour and 30 minutes long. Like I don't need an album to be like 2 hours for it to be like a masterpiece. Like I like how it was like 42 minutes I think long, and it was like it gets you through everything that you need to get to, and you're left with wanting more, but also very satisfied with what you got, because it's like you have like all of the hits. So I'm like, I can't pick anything other than
You can't
that.
beat Michael.
Like I can't you cannot beat Michael Jackson.
Like
okay,
come on.
we already have our tickets to see that.
Oh, me too.
Oh yes.
I got that. Like I was looking at like it felt like I was on Ticketmaster going to the concert. Like I'm like sitting here like, no, I need the pre-sale and I need to get 3 tickets, IMAX.
And
in the middle.
lately, movie tickets have been like Ticketmaster.
It's been like Ticketmaster
selling, because you know we like the 70mm
Oh,
theater.
100% in IMAX.
In IMAX,
Yeah.
the huge giant
I'm a film girly
screen.
as
There's
well,
only like 10 in the world, whatever.
Exactly.
We enjoy that. We go to that. Getting tickets there now, they sold the Odyssey tickets a year in advance.
Yeah,
That's
they just
crazy.
sold out the
movie
Dune
wasn't
ones.
done.
Yeah, the Dune is coming out like end of the year, and
Yeah.
they already sold. They're already
That's
sold out.
Already sold out.
So I had to get my Michael tickets. I'm like, no, I'm not playing. Like I'm
You
so
gotta
excited
be
for that.
on there as soon, like you're getting a concert
crazy.
ticket to go to see it at that movie theater.
Yeah,
But honestly, even with the 4DX theater, you have to do the same thing.
Yeah.
yeah. So,
And we love a good 4DX.
I love a good 4DX.
I
You know they're
love a
showing
good 4DX.
Michael in 4DX.
Yeah.
and
Like they better have me
had I go
walking
in-
in the seat or something.
This gonna be the hologram in there. Y'all remember when they did that? Okay.
oh my gosh.
So Thriller has Paul McCartney, Eddie Van Halen, Vincent Price.
Mhm.
He's pulling from completely different worlds and making it all make sense on one album and in his range.
Exactly.
Do you think that contributes to albums elevating, pulling from different worlds?
I think so. Yeah. I do think that you can have a really, really good album, like standalone by itself. And I also applaud people who do that, like no features, like this is my sound, and like being really like sticking to that. But I do also think like it's always fun to have collaborators. And I definitely do think that they bring in a lot of like different flavors and things like that. And I think that also speaks to like I said, when he won so many Grammys in different genres, because like he could just pivot, but like still have it sound cohesive. So I think if it's done well, it's done. It'll be incredible. I know sometimes there'll be moments where it's like I feel like the whole thing was just a bunch of features, and like that is like not my biggest fan. I think what was it, Summer Walker's album? She had like a feature on every single, and that's no shade to Summer Walker, but like she had features on every single track, and it just kind of felt like, is this like a collaborative album or is this like yours? You know what I mean? So I think like being able to bring in people but still have them come with your vision is very important. But I do think it does like help sometimes too. Yeah.
Okay, and I want to talk really quick about, I know you mentioned Beat It earlier, and Beat It was also big in breaking boundaries because it broke every racial barrier on radio and MTV at the time when Black artists were intentionally being kept out.
Exactly.
That was the first one to be able to get on.
Yeah.
What do you think that an album of this stature and that being on this album means.
I think, and that's why I think like he's such a genius, and that's why I think like he's like one of the biggest stars of our time, because he was able to break down those barriers and was able to speak through things in music. I always love when, and music is also like, art is inherently political. I hate when people want to separate it and be like, no, like I don't want like a political piece, like I don't want like politics in my stuff that I'm watching. Like it's not just empty entertainment. Like people, like creative people, like they have something to say, even if it's not anything that has to do with like Democrat versus, you know, those kind of stuff. Like it doesn't have to be that, but I definitely do think that all art inherently is political. So, and Michael Jackson has so many instances where he's came and like been like, no, I have something to say and I want to say it. So I definitely think that him being able to break down those barriers and be that kind of mouthpiece was so important. And he has so many hits that are like, no, I want to speak to police brutality. No, I want to speak to my race and like racism and like everything that's happening, because like that's important too. I think we in music sometimes it's like you can talk about things that are very important to you and people will listen, especially if you're an artist of that caliber. So sometimes I think you should think sometimes to be like, hey, like maybe if I'm passionate about something, maybe I could, you know, insert that, or at least like use my voice in that way to help with society, because I think that's important too.
Yeah.
Like,
because even if you don't want it, there's some level of responsibility being someone with that huge platform.
Exactly.
Even because I even think art, like you said, it's to me it is all political too. Not in a sense of Democrat, Republican, and third, but it shapes the way that people look at themselves.
Exactly.
It shapes the way that people look at others. Like it's much deeper than what people really think. So I think that's so true. Okay. Yeah. Now, we have a segment that we close every episode out with called Sister Sound Off, and that's where we give you 30 seconds to speak your mind about anything. Okay.
Sister Sound Off is where we take 30 seconds to pause the conversation and speak our mind. Hear us out.
We want to give you the chance to give us your Sister Sound Off, and then we're going to respond to it.
Okay.
So I'm going to put 30 seconds on the clock.
Feel free to time me, yes.
And go.
Okay, so my sister sound off. I think that women in music are held to a different standard than men in music are, especially in terms of like their branding and like their aesthetics. And they're always asked to like change up their sound or like their look. And I feel like men in that industry don't. Like I was thinking about like Sabrina Carpenter and like Playboi Carti. And like I think that, for example, like Playboi can do that rock star thing until the day he dies, and like everyone will be fine with it. But like let's say Sabrina Carpenter decides to stick with the shtick of like, you know, like Hollywood 50s. Oh, I'm over time. But like Hollywood 50s and like that kind of aesthetic, people are gonna be like, oh my God, when is she gonna do something else? And I hate that.
I could agree with that.
I agree with that 1,000%. Because even, you know, they have eras.
Like,
right.
Women artists tend to always do different eras with different albums. Some intentionally they just want to switch it up, but some just different themes, right? And then their whole Instagram has changed, everything has changed. I feel like men don't do era
I don't
in the same way.
Not in the same way. Not like
I mean, some do.
Some do. Of course, I'm now thinking about Michael. I'm like, he did it.
Yeah.
But like, of course,
grand scheme of things.
Yeah, but especially with like rap music, like you don't
rap
see
music.
Men are not doing.
You
eras.
don't see Lil Durk switching it up on an outfit.
No, it's the same thing.
And
so,
it's fine. But
and
women,
it's fine.
it would be because you know you always hear that. I know what this album's gonna sound like before it comes out, or every song sounded the same.
It's like, or I wish, and like Bruno Mars. Can we talk about Bruno Mars? He's been doing the Silk Sonic thing for how long? And he just dropped an album, and it's literally the same thing. Like and that's just like a pet peeve of mine, because I know that like if like I said like if like Lady Gaga were to do the same thing, or like Beyonce were to do the same thing, like if she didn't do a bunch of different like genres of album, and she's like amazing, so it's like and I know that this is like something that she wants to do, but I feel like sometimes women are like Cat's Eye, they're held to a different standard, like that girl group where it's like, okay, like they did that, now what, like I'm done with this sound, I'm done with this look. But like you said, like rappers and country artists, like they don't ever have to think about what's next in that kind of way.
It's definitely a now what, right?
Yeah,
right.
That's totally. And then you see people now trying to force it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like, well, what did you expect them to do?
Right.
You told them that they were tired of the same thing.
Yeah.
And then I also see people do this with legacy acts, because I feel like it's not fair, because we can enjoy we enjoy all of Bruno's albums, right? All of the Silk Sonic stuff. Why can't we enjoy? I know people were saying they wanted Sierra to do like some random different other genre, and I was like,
why? Yeah, why?
I was like, this is Sierra's sound and music that her fans have loved for this amount of time, but she's getting criticized for doing her sound. But if someone else released another album, it's fine.
Right.
They loved T.I. just came back out with that single that sounds like kind of more old T.I. And everyone loves it, right?
Yeah.
But Sierra can't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a pet peeve. Might be controversial, but
I get it.
Yeah,
totally.
I get it. Makes me think of Megan Thee Stallion, because everyone's always like, when is she gonna switch her flow?
Yeah,
it's like,
like
she doesn't
drop
to...
the Hot Girl Summer, like we're done with Hot Girl Summer. I'm like, what?
We're
Why?
not done with it.
Why?
Actually.
But Rockstar Lifestyle could be like forever.
Right, forever.
I don't know.
Like, I don't know.
It's still a brat summer.
It's still a brat
summer.
Still a hot girl summer. They keep saying, "Oh, when is she gonna let go of brat?"
Like Zara Larsson. People are already talking about Zara Larsson needs to switch it up. Like retired her summer.
No.
Like
what?
Stop hating.
No, Zara Larsson does not need to switch it up. She actually needs to do more.
Exactly.
Yes.
Turn it up.
Turn it up.
Summer is not over yet.
Summer is never over.
Well, we want to thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. This was so fun.
And thank you guys for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about the music industry? Do you want to work in the music industry? What do you think makes a favorite album? What is your perfect album? Let us know. We want to talk back to you, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.